Okay, there you go.
Okay, so I can start sharing my screen. So it looks like we have a number of people. Oh, no, showing 12 participants.
That includes us, Scott. I only see 6 other than city staff.
Okay, I see that. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I haven't led a Zoom meeting like this. I believe for the people that are attendees that are listening, that we're just kind of a FYI, we're going to do a little bit of presenting on the subject, on the topic at hand for the North Avenue OPL, and then we'll have questions at the end. So any of the attendees will be able to raise their hand and then be brought in to be able to ask questions. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Just have a brief overview, PowerPoint presentation over West North Avenue OPL. It's called an official plan line between South Marks and South Elm Avenue, as presented by the Department of Public Works and Planning Department. My name is Scott Tyler. I'm a Public Works Manager with the City of Fresno. Also on our panel is Jill Gormley. She's a City Traffic Engineer. Andrew Benelli, he's the Assistant Public Works Director and City Engineer, and Will Tackett, Planning Manager for Planning Department. Again, the North Avenue OPL. OPL is what we call an official plan line for the road. So it includes all of the road, all of the sidewalk, everything within the ultimate right-of-way. It's not a construction set of plans. It's a planning document. It's a tool that the city uses to establish boundaries or alignment within the ultimate right-of-way to meet the requirements of the general plan, which right now is the 2035 general plan, and we also have a Southwest specific plan that we are also adhering to. And there are other things or policies that have been put in place by City Council going back from brief overview. We've had presented this to the public before back in 2018. There were some issues with moving the project forward that had to do with some of the land uses that were agricultural at the time, and some still today that are out in the county, part of the Williamson Act. And so there's additional steps that planning had to do to move this forward. And then COVID hit, and then all of this has kind of delayed us moving this forward into implementation. So we're kind of at a point where we need to finalize this. So that's where we are today, and wanted to bring this back out to the public to kind of go over it and to present it and give a little bit more information on what an OPL is and what it's not. Again, it doesn't build a road. The document is a recorded document that gets approved through the Planning Commission and the City Council. And then the document is recorded with the county, and it memorializes the ultimate road width and alignment to accommodate all users of the roads. We're looking at accommodating all users of the road with a complete streets policy. The OPLs can be used for future roadway projects, and that could be a city project to build parts of the road, or it could be used for a future traffic signal so that we can establish the ultimate alignment or where the ultimate curb returns would go with the traffic signal project, so that the traffic signal poles are placed at the ultimate location. If we didn't do that, an example of that would be that the signal poles would go in, and if it wasn't an ultimate, then that would, in essence, be money thrown away, because then the new poles would have to be installed, and in essence, it would be a brand new signal. And right now, traffic signals range from $400,000 to $700,000 per intersection. What triggered the need for an official plan line? This is something that we've done in the past for the city. Oh goodness, we have recorded plan lines from the 1960s, so it's just been something that's been used as far back, I believe, in the 60s. I don't recall seeing any in the 50s, but I've seen some that are recorded in the 60s. Again, to define the alignment of the road and define the ultimate right-of-way that the road would fit in, depending on if it's an arterial or collector. With the 2035 general plan, it changes the designation or the number of lanes on North Avenue from a 4-lane arterial to a 2-lane arterial. And we get requests in the Public Works Department all the time from potential developers that they want to know, where's the road going to be? If I want to develop on this parcel, how much land do I need to dedicate for the project? And what am I going to have to do for improvement plans? So this is something that our traffic planning department division can look up the document and provide it to customers, being developers, to show them, okay, here, this is a recorded document, this is the alignment of the road, this is what you would have to dedicate for this particular parcel. And so it's a very useful tool. That there's no ambiguity about it. It's not something that that it can change. Bring that up, that we have had in the past changed plan lines, but what we're trying to do is to minimize changes, so that we don't have something where we're one block looking at a street, and then all of a sudden the next block trying to shift it over 10 feet. So we're looking at all the existing uses along the road, and minimize the impacts of existing users or existing homes, existing businesses on both sides of the road, and then in areas where it's undeveloped, and finding the best alignment for the road. This is just a general overview of the project, where we have the alignment stretching approximately 3 miles from Elm Avenue to Marks Avenue, well west of State Route 41. This is the 2035 general plan land use overview of some of the uses that are proposed in the area, from open space, medium, low residential. The other side of the street is in the county, and that's on the city's sphere of influence. And so whatever is developed on the other side of the road between Martin Luther King and Marks would be whatever is in the county's general plan for development in that area. So this is kind of a brief overview, kind of looking at that. I didn't check if this is up to date. It shows the distinction between what areas are in the city currently and what areas are in the county. The yellow areas are in the county, the blue areas are in the city. So you can see from Elm to Martin Luther King, both sides of the street are in the city. West of Martin Luther King, the north side of the street is in the city to just past Walnut. And then again, there's another part between West and Hughes on the north side that is in the city of Fresno. There are also other considerations that are taken into account on this project. If you can see that these blue lines, they're Fresno Irrigation District has pipes and canals that cross the roads in different places within the city on our major roads, and so we have to take those into account on any of our alignments and their structures that they have existing today. So I'm looking at some of the constraints for this and the alignment. We have the general plan, which we're setting the alignment or the number of lanes. include bike lanes, sidewalks, parking. Some of the areas that have existing residential uses, we're accommodating the existing parking to keep that in place. Like I said, existing homes, existing uses. Fresno Irrigation District, they have accommodating their infrastructure that's crossing North Avenue, looking at future development. We've had, since we started looking at this, we did have the county come in and build part of the road of North Avenue along the north side of the Cargill plant. And so some of that work is done that we will have to take that into account as far as constraint, and then also any existing infrastructure and new infrastructure that could be placed along North Avenue. So again, just kind of an overview. You know, their alignment takes into account both sides of the road having existing homes, and coming further to the west, you know, having existing homes, existing development that are already built out on the north side of the road. So we don't want to have the road where it will impact existing homes or take any unnecessary right of way for the road for the existing users. Also incorporated into this is the 41 North Corridor Complete Streets Plan from 2015, and this was also incorporated in the Southwest Fresno Specific Plan in 2017. These are some of the features that were part of the plan that looked at cross sections of the road from existing today, where you have a 2-lane road, moving over to 2-lane road with bike lanes, buffered bike lanes on these two different examples. I'm not sure if everybody can see my screen very well on some of those, so I'll just leave them up for a second. So I have the proposed sidewalks, bike lane, a buffer, travel lane going east and west, a bike lane. Part of that we were looking at accommodating parking. So we have a City of Fresno standard for Collector Street that could accommodate what was being proposed in the general plan for a 2-lane road. So in typical on this, we have 8-foot parking, a bike lane, 11-foot travel lane, a 2-way left turn lane, another 11-foot travel lane, a bike lane, and again parking. In areas that are undeveloped that don't need parking, the road width can be reduced to accommodate just the sidewalks, the bike lanes, and the travel lanes, and a 2-way left turn lane. Part of the next steps on this is taking feedback from the public and adjusting as needed some of the feature or some of the alignment of the OPL when we have to go back and revise our OPL based on what the improvements were done by the county with their EDA grant, or as Fresno Metropolitan Flood Control District. Once we have that completed or corrected and address any comments that might come from this meeting today, we will look at a planning commission hearing in the next month or two, and then after that, taking it to city council for adoption a month or two after the planning commission. With that, I'm sure everybody has a number of questions, so we will open it up for those that want to raise their hand, and it looks like Vanka Saunders has her hand raised.
Good evening, you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Thanks for inviting me, Andrew. I also wanted to know, did you guys engage by using like that 1,000-foot notification process? Is that how residents along North Avenue would have found out about this meeting tonight?
Yes, correct. We did. So we had over 1,000 feet, correct. We had over 400 mailers sent out.
Okay. And as far as just making, like you're stating that you're doing this to confirm the alignment of the street, but one thing that I noticed between Elm Avenue down to Martin Luther King, there is still a lot of just open dirt space on the south side of North Avenue, but it's fronting the front of homes. So I'm not too sure like how much of that space that is currently being used by the property owners, is theirs versus the city's right of way. But does this plan acknowledge, like you were talking about, constraints? So is there any eminent domain that is part of this plan? Or is it to align it without having to use eminent domain?
Right now, it wouldn't include any eminent domain with this process.
Okay.
So it would, yeah. There's no with this action, there is no going after any right of way. The only time that would happen is with a street improvement project. And so what with the OPL in these areas, they have existing homes on each side of the road. We are looking at, making sure that we meet setback requirements of the general plan. So the homes without improvements in front of them, we take into account how far away they are, the existing houses are from the road, and do they meet the width of the road that we're proposing, does it meet current setback requirements?
Thank you.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, my name is Willie Timms, and I have property there on Clara and North Avenue. And we are in the process of trying to develop that corner lot.
Okay.
Are you guys planning on putting a sidewalk and gutter on that, the south side of our North Avenue? Because it's no sidewalk.
The OPL, the plan line would not install sidewalk. That would occur with any future project. Typical for development on a parcel, they're required to put in all of their frontage improvements. And I'm not familiar with what type of project you're putting in, but yeah, we do look for opportunities for grants to install sidewalk. For active transportation grants. Yeah, so with missing sidewalk and stuff like that, that's probably something that we would look at or need to look at for a potential grant for installing sidewalk. But at this point, the official plan line does not install sidewalk or anything.
Well, how would you find out about the grants?
Those come up in cycles, so that would be something that is evaluated and added to grant applications as they come up. And I believe our active transportation grants are coming up pretty soon.
Thanks.
Maybe just to restate that a little bit, Scott, to explain that the city does apply for grants, but there's not an opportunity for a property owner to apply for grants.
Right.
So if you own that property and you intend to build a home, the city would require that you install curb gutter and sidewalk and possibly streetlights if they're missing. And that is what we require citywide, whether it's a new residential subdivision or just a standalone single-family home. City requires the landowner to build the improvements. Now we do, from time to time, we're successful in getting grants and we do the improvements, whether it's a vacant lot or an existing home. We don't currently have any funding or any plans to put improvements on North Avenue. But the first step is to get a plan line established, and then we'll start to evaluate if it's a good candidate for a grant. And we hope that in the future we'll be able to install curb gutter and sidewalk, but no current plans.
If there's no other questions, I would like to ask, if anybody knows of any specific issues or things that are going on along North Avenue that they might have concerns with. If not, but we would be interested in hearing too for that as well. So we do have sounds like we do have the issues with the sidewalks, some undeveloped parcels, or parcels that are developed but don't have frontage improvements. So if there are any other traffic issues or anything like that anybody wants to share, that would be great to hear from too. All right.
I think from the work that I do with residents that live on Roy Almy, just on the south side of North Avenue, that part of the community, the biggest issue is still the heavy duty trucks going and coming from Cargill. So you're stating that, Andrew, you're stating that road improvements can be done by the city when they see fit, but we know that with development, if there is industrial development, the city moves forward with creating those improvements. But you just told the resident that improvements that have been much needed for a very long time for the safety of the residents that live there, it would be their responsibility. So it's a very unfair situation where currently for a very long time, residents' safety is a major concern if any students try to walk to school in that area, sharing a 2-lane residential road with heavy duty trucks going to and from Cargill. And if there is plans for future industrial development, we always, a lot of times will see industrial development, or even before that property may be purchased by a developer for the developer's project, to say that there's only going to possibly be funding available. Isn't it possible to use those ATP funds, the ARPA funds, infrastructure funds for the improvement, not just for future development, but for the residents that have been, under a lot of safety issues for a very long time? So as far as your question, Scott, the safety, the incomplete sidewalks, the incomplete bike lanes, who wants to be on a bike when you're being sucked into the current of a heavy rig that's going by you? So those are all the main concerns that have been historically a problem with south side of Fresno.
Okay.
We agree with you, and that's why we're processing a plan line. It's the first step to be able to apply for grants and try to look for funding to make improvements. And you mentioned Roy and Almy in that area. I mean, the city was able to get community development block grant funds. And we did put in curb gutter and sidewalk on Roy and Almy. We would like to do more work. And to be clear, we would not ask current homeowners to pay for curb gutter and sidewalk. But if someone owns property and wants to develop either a single family home or apartment building or industrial, any type of development, they're required to install curb gutter and sidewalk. So we do hope to get grants in the future or to find funding to improve those parts of North that are currently in the city. But this project, this is really just to adopt a plan, kind of spelling out how it will be built. This isn't a construction project. This is just a plan line. But it's a first step towards trying to get funding to make those type of improvements.
Andy, if I can pose a question, and maybe this is for Jill. One of the things that I've noticed in the Southwest Fresno specific plan is a recommendation to eliminate North Avenue as a truck route. Do we have any information on that, future intentions, or has that come up at all at this point in time?
We are working with the Air District to analyze the existing truck routes and the planned truck routes in what we're calling the AB 617 plan area. It's roughly from McKinley south to, I think, American, and then over to Cedar. We are just in the very planning stages of bringing a consultant team on board to start looking at those truck routes. It may be that North is a truck route today, and it may be a recommendation to eliminate that as a truck route through this study. So that is in process. We're in the very beginning stages of it. Like I said, hope to have a team on board after the first of the year to start analyzing the north route as well as all other truck routes within that study area.
Thank you, Jill.
Hi, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I live on North Avenue also, and my question is, I always called regarding the potholes on the road on North Avenue. I call maybe every 3 months, 2 to 3 months, for the potholes to be repaired. And they've been fixing them, but they always come back again, and the road is super bad. Are you guys planning on like fixing the road in the future, like you guys did over there by Cargill Company? Like North Avenue, Fresno Road?
Do you want to take that, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, we do have plans to fix it. I would have to look at our schedule. I don't know when it will be repaved, but I would bet it's on the list. We evaluate all the roads every year, and we update the list of what will be done each year. The work that was done by Cargill was paid for with a grant, and that's why it didn't go any further, but I'm sure that we have a schedule for that to be repaved. Anytime there's a pothole, if you could call in, we will send a crew out to patch it. Of course, the potholes are always worse during the rainy season. So we're coming into the rainy season, so they're probably going to get worse. But pretty good chance that we have a schedule to repave it. I don't know what that schedule is, but I could find out for you.
That sounds good. Thank you so much. But yeah, I do call all the time and it does get fixed. So thank you for doing the great job. And my area, when it rains, I have flood like right the outside of my house. I'm planning of doing the asphalt, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to ask for permission for that, because when it rains, my house gets flooded on the outside by the exit.
Yeah, that is really what we look at. We need curb and gutter. Once the curb and gutter is installed, then we direct the water to an inlet. Like down at Cargill, I know they installed new inlets there. We need to install a curb and gutter on all of North, and that would stop that problem with the flooding in front and put in inlets. But it's fairly expensive to do all that work. And as I was kind of telling or saying before, the city does apply for grants, but they're competitive. We're not always successful. But we do intend to look for funding, apply for grants and other sources of funding to try to improve North Avenue. Like I said, this plan line is the first step. The grants that we apply for are competitive, so having a plan line in place helps us to be more competitive and more successful on the grant applications. We compete against other cities from all over California that also have, neighborhoods just like North Avenue. So we have to put together a really good project and have all the answers for the people that review the applications if we're going to be successful in being able to install curb gutter and sidewalk in your area.
I see. Thank you.
Real quick, I wanted to bring up too, like as far as what I brought before about next steps. So the next step again would be taking this to the Planning Commission. If my memory serves me correctly, that is just something that the city posts on the city's website for noticing for Planning Commission, and also an ad in the paper.
That's correct, Scott. What we'll do is we will again send out mailed notices to property owners within 1,000 feet of the corridor, and we will post on the agenda on the city website through the city clerk's webpage. I will look at the publication requirement on OPLs. It's been a minute since we were looking at this last, so I have to refresh my memory on that. But should the code require, we will also publish a notice in the Fresno Bee.
Okay, I think we were doing that in the past, so. Okay.
Scott, if any of the property owners want to see what is planned in front of their home, can they contact you?
Yeah, so we sent out a notice. So we have our contact information. I believe it was Gareen Kindoyan was the contact person for that. So her email was on the notice. So yeah, if you have specifics, anything in front of your property or something that we can review with you, please send her an email, and we will get back with you and give you a little bit more detail on the OPL specific to your property. I'm not sure how you guys typically do that. So if there's no more questions, you just give everybody an opportunity for any last minute questions before we end it.
Yeah, do you have the plan line available in case anyone would like to see it now, just in front of their property?
The only issue is I have to make some changes to it because of the improvements for the EDA grant. So I can bring that up real quick.
I think most people are really only interested in what's happening in front of their home.
Right.
That's my experience on doing these OPLs.
It's pretty long. I mean, we could bring up specific areas if that's
like Mr. Timms was asking, I think, about the corner of North and I think he said Clara. Okay. What he said?
That's correct.
Might be able to just show what his property, what's planned in front of his property.
Okay. Oops. Let's see if I can bring that up. It is not working very well.
Oh, I was muted. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I said some of the prices I've gotten for the curb and gutter, the prices to put the curb and gutter is almost as much as putting the house up. So I'm trying to figure, say for instance, the house is $200,000 and then it costs you $250,000 to put the curb and gutter in. What sense is it to put a house up?
We realize that, and that's, all of the new subdivisions, the developers pay for curb, gutter, sidewalk, the streets, the sewers. I mean, they pay for every improvement in the subdivision.
Yeah, but that's a commercial. That's the commercial investors that's doing that. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that you're putting a big development up, but just a single house, it just seems to me this is unfair.
We require it throughout the city, in any neighborhood, but it is very expensive to develop, especially on a corner where you have frontage on both streets.
Correct. Yes.
It's just very expensive. The city has a program that reimburses developers for the actual street work. That's from curb to curb, but it doesn't include the sidewalk or the street lights. I'm not sure which corner does.
Which corner? Yeah, we're on this the southwest corner of North and Clara. So it's right there. That's the property. No, it's empty now because we just cleared it.
So the,
Right there, where the arrow was, right there, that's our property right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scott, can you explain to him what the green line and the yellow line and the purple line mean?
Sure. Right now, right here, on the southeast side, you can see that there was some development that went in that was actually wider than what the city needs under the 2035 general plan. So you can see that the sidewalk, curb and gutter was set back further under an older general plan. So this is one of the reasons, a prime example of for an OPL, is that you get hodgepodge kind of stuff that comes in, and then things aren't consistently developed. So with the OPL, we stay consistent throughout the length of the street so that we don't have issues like this. But on this side, right now, I don't know if you can, let me zoom in just a little bit more. This faint line right here that the mouse is running over, that's your existing property line. The green line is the proposed property line, so the sidewalk and everything would be on the north side of that. You can tell based on our topographic survey that was done, the fence line was actually even further back. It looks like it was set to an old alignment. So you can see on the opposite side of Clara, that looks like your fence line was set back to match that future road width, which is not what we would need today. So it'd actually be further to the north. So with this OPL, we're proposing less right-of-way needs for the street than previous development. I believe this orange line represents your fence. I don't know. I can't confirm that that's there today. So if you haven't taken that down, then that fence line would actually, once we finish the OPL, it could actually be further out into to the north.
Okay, thank you for that information.
All right.
And Mr. Timms, if you have any questions about prospective development of that parcel, please feel free to also reach out to me. You can reach me by email, just as you see my name on the screen, will.tackett@fresno.gov.
Is there anyone else in the meeting that would like to see their property?
That's the easterly limits at Elm.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Could you give me that email again, please?
For Will Tackett?
Yes.
It's his name. Do you see his name, Will Tackett, on the screen?
No, I don't see a Will Packard. No, if you'd be nice, yeah, I don't see it.
Okay, it's Will, WILL dot Tackett, TACKETT at fresno.gov.
And I did just add that to the chat for reference if you need it, Mr. Timms.
Okay, thank you.
It appears that's it for questions or comments.
I think for everyone that's in the group, you can reach any of us with first name and last name with a period in between at fresno.gov.
Yep.
We try to answer emails we get from the public, especially.
Excuse me, are you guys able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I was trying to, okay, is there any, it might be too late. Is there any way you can show me my house?
Yes.
Thank you.
What intersection are you close to?
2429 West North Avenue.
2924
2429
or 29?
West North Avenue, right on the corner of Hughes and North.
Looking like the southeast corner there, Scott.
All right, give me 1 minute and I will try to pull it up. And that's west of Walnut.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I'm not finding it. Okay, I believe I have it. This, right now, the Hughes is a T intersection, so it goes to the south.
And it should be that residence right there, Scott.
Okay, all right. So yeah, with this, there would just be a, I believe it's 6 feet additional with any kind of future improvements from the property.
6 feet. Can you explain that?
Right now, so there's the section line is the definition of all parcels where they're split from. So the red line here, this dash, that's the section line of the street. And then right now there is 30 feet of the road. So your property line is 30 feet off the section line. So at ultimate, under our proposal, it would be an additional 6 feet. So it would be 36 feet. And so it would just be 6 more feet. But at the intersection, we're looking at a planned a north alignment for Hughes as well. So it's accommodating future future turning movements with left turn lanes and right turn lanes and such. So that's why you see it's widened out in this area here and here.
So there's a sewer right there in front of my house, right?
Okay.
And I was thinking of connecting to the sewer in the future. I've been trying, but they said it's expensive to connect to the sewer because I have a septic tank.
Okay.
Where can I get information about that? Like to connect to the sewer? Who do I call? What do I need
Off
to
the
do?
top of my head, I'm not 100% sure.
I would
Andy,
contact Kevin Gray.
Kevin.
He handles the, I can look up his phone number, but his email would be his first name, Kevin, Kevin, period, Gray, Gray, @fresno.gov. If you want his phone number, I can look it up. Just take me a minute or two.
Okay, that'll be great. Thank you.
Let me look it up.
Thank you.
I have it right here, Andy.
You have it?
Yeah, it's 621-8553.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I did also add Kevin's email to the chat.
Okay.
And this property is in the county, so it will require an agreement with the city to do that. But Kevin can answer your questions.
Thank you so much.
Sorry about the window in the way. Okay. Well, it looks like we've lost a few people. Appreciate everyone that's still here and everyone that did participate and show up. We appreciate that. Appreciate the feedback and the comments. This helps us, address any concerns that you may have. You know your time is valuable. We do appreciate you for showing up. So I think with that, we'll look at closing it. Unless there's any last minute, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Okay, we'll leave it at that. I wish everybody a good night, and again, thank you for participating.